Olá pessoal, intercâmbios inteligentes mais uma vez aqui na Irlanda. A gente vai entrevistar hoje Martin Curley, um irlandês, adora o Brasil, adora esporte, adora rugby, adora festas. É um cara que acabou de se formar, fez faculdade de cinema. A gente vai estar entrevistando essa pessoa maravilhosa, perguntar para ele tudo sobre o Brasil, sobre a profissão, sobre o mercado de trabalho, várias coisas aí para a gente ter uma visão do Brasil pelos olhos de um gringo, de um irlandês nativo. Tá ok? Martin, how are you doing, man?
Muito bom. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Martin, you are welcome. Muito bom ter você aqui. Martin, my first question for you is, how did you get in touch your first time with Brazilian community in Ireland?
Well, first time I came in touch with the Brazilian community was probably about 3 years ago. I've been living abroad in New Zealand. I moved back to Ireland and ended up working at an English school. I did some administration work there, and through that I met quite a few Brazilians. There's actually quite a lot. There's a big Brazilian community in Dublin, and it's over the last few years.
Very nice. So you have been living in New Zealand. So you have been in this situation to live abroad, to live in another country. So tell us about your experience as an Irish person living in New Zealand.
Well, the first thing that helped me, which they spoke English, of course, in New Zealand. It's my native language, and I appreciate that, because previously I actually had lived in Germany, and like many Brazilians coming to Ireland, I had to learn another language.
Very nice.
So I know how hard it can be, but with the right friends and the right family, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you've got support, I suppose you'll get through it.
Did you meet so many Brazilians in New Zealand?
None. Zero in New Zealand.
Zero Brazilians in New Zealand?
Yeah, sorry.
You're a lucky guy. So how about Ireland? So you have so many Brazilian friends here?
Yeah, quite a lot now. As I said, I'm living in Dublin, and there's a lot of Brazilians, certainly in Dublin, throughout Ireland, but there is a community here in Dublin, and yeah, nice people.
You haven't been in Brazil?
Never in Brazil. South America is the only continent I've never been to.
You plan to go there?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
When did you plan to go? For the World Cup?
The World Cup, yeah, would be good. Hopefully Ireland can make it. We have a tough group with Germany and Sweden, and also the manager for Ireland, some Brazilians may know him, Giovanni Trapattoni.
Okay.
He's an Italian guy who was very successful in the past.
What is your favorite hotspots in Brazil? What are you planning to visit when you be there?
Well, being Irish, I don't take to the sun too well. I can last maybe half an hour in the sun, but that's about it. What I'd like to see, of course, because I love sport, I'd love to see some football, and I watch quite a bit of Brazilian football, and I'd have to say, just from talking to friends and so forth, my team would be Santos.
Very nice, very nice. Congratulations, it's the best team in the world.
Well, basically anybody but Corinthians.
You got the right Brazilian way to think. Anybody who likes Corinthians, they love it. But who doesn't like, they hate it.
Good stuff. It's a bit like Manchester United in England.
Exactly, exactly. And how do you think the Irish people see this kind of invasion of all nationalities? So many foreigners from another countries come to Ireland. So you can see that in some places you can meet in the streets more foreigners than Irish people. How do the Irish people see this extreme change in the community?
I'd say it's definitely a change. Maybe we wouldn't use the word invasion. It might be a bit strong, but I understand what you're saying, all right. And primarily, I think the change, the only people who have any kind of problem with the change is the older generation.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of true of any country throughout the world. Like going back through history as well, if there's any kind of change, the older generation through their own tradition find it a bit harder to accept, you know, modern times. And particularly in Dublin now, there's a lot of Eastern Europeans, a lot of Brazilians, people from Asia, Africa, you know, and it depends on where you go. It's just a question of integrating.
So, as an Irish person, you have a lot of Brazilian friends, and of course you also have a lot of Irish friends, and when they see you involved in the Brazilian communities, I can see that sometimes you join Brazilian parties, or you invite Brazilian friends to go to your home, or you visit them, as you do here today with us. So how do your friends see? I know that you like Brazilians, so you have your own opinion, but I just want to get a little bit of the view for the other Irish people. In your opinion, how do they see the Brazilian community in Ireland?
Well, the people I know personally, to be honest, I don't know one person who was against any Brazilians, you know, or has a bad word to say about Brazilians in Ireland. And the two words I would use to describe Brazilians that most of my friends would say, firstly, would be hard working. They all know how hard Brazilians work. And I have to be honest, Brazilians probably have a harder work ethic than Irish people.
Very nice, very, very good to hear that. So, Martin, what is your expectation about Brazilian girls? How do you see the Brazilian girls, and how your friends see the Brazilian girls? Because always when I meet some Irish friend, when I say, okay, I'm Brazilian, it's the first time everybody ask when you go to any pub or any party or wherever, people ask, where are you from? So when I say, oh, I'm from Brazil, and the first thing is, oh, Brazil, the hottest girls in the world. So how is your view about that?
Well, it's what you're talking about is a stereotype, you know, and unfortunately stereotypes, you know, sometimes they can be true, but in general, you know, when I was in New Zealand, I lived in South Africa, in Germany, as I said, and as soon as I opened my mouth and people knew I was Irish, you know, the leprechaun accent came out. Oh, to be sure, you know, they'd ask me if I wanted a Guinness, you know.
Oh,
so
my God.
You get it everywhere, all over the world. So my stereotype is that I fight, I drink a lot, and that I talk like a leprechaun. But when you're Brazilian, your stereotype is you have the most beautiful women in the world. So it's probably a good stereotype to have.
Very nice, very, very nice. Did you ever have a Brazilian girlfriend?
I did.
So you got a lot of Brazilian friends, a Brazilian girlfriend. What's the first word you learn in Portuguese?
Can I say rude words?
Oh, of course.
Okay, there's many words, of course.
The first one that somebody tried to teach you.
I can't remember specifically the first word, but the majority of the words were all bad language. You know,
the first expressions that you...
First expressions, vai tomar no cu, chupa meu pau, chupa meu cu, gosto tetões, you know? So, yeah, of course, and then dois, três, preto, branco, the good stuff, you know.
The good stuff. Martin, I want that if you have a chance to invite somebody to Ireland, some Brazilians to come to Ireland, what you can say to them, and what you think is something that you cannot miss if you visit Ireland. What places in Ireland do you think is unmissable?
Well, most of the places, the tourist places you will get in, you know, in any tourist or travel guide. Those include the Guinness Storehouse here in Dublin. I suppose you can go to the Kilmainham Jail. There's lots of arts museums. We have a writers' museum. Ireland has a history of an artistic background of writers and playwrights. I think some of the stuff that's probably I don't know if a lot of the stuff is not in these books. You know, it depends on what you want. But for example, it doesn't matter what time of the year. I'll just say, it doesn't matter what time of the year you come to Dublin. Bring a jacket, bring an umbrella. You know, because you can probably say I'm shaking a little because I'm Irish and I'm, you know, eu estou com frio, so it's a bit cold, let's say, over here.
Martin, thank you very much for your time. I know you are late for the game. This just shows how the Irish people love the Brazilians, the Brazilian community. He supposed to go to watch the match, but he gave us a little bit of his time just to share with us his view about Brazilians in Ireland, and is one more person giving us a view of the Brazilians abroad. Martin, thank you very much again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.